to Le Mans France and the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, and race number 1 of this weekend is about to get started. It's pretty packed, so you can tell people do love truck racing in this country. Of course, the French Championship also takes place this weekend, and the European Championship is gonna get excited because maybe we might have a pre-champion already this weekend, you never know. But we also have some fights going on 2nd and 3rd place and 4th place actually, so qualifying has been quite a thing this morning. And let's turn around just so you can see that the audience is really waiting for the races. And of course we also have our lovely commentators in the live stream, so to say just record in the English commentator booth, then also Fonsi for the Spanish audience and Joachim Eberts for the German audience. So hallo auch von meiner Seite an dieser Stelle, and see you in a bit because we're gonna get started for a very fast and funny weekend.
We absolutely are. Hello, everybody. Chaz Draycott here on the English live stream for the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And as Lena mentioned, my colleagues Joachim Eberts and Fonsi Cebrian are commentating in German and Spanish if you'd like to see their live streams instead. We're here at the wonderful Bugatti circuit at Le Mans for this 7th and penultimate race meeting of the season. We have 8 race meetings in total. It was planned that we were going to have 9, but unfortunately we did not visit the Nürburgring, sorry, not the Nürburgring, the Hungaroring earlier on in the season due to construction at the circuit. It's a very popular venue, and of course with a double reigning champion, now 4-time champion actually, Norbert Kiss being a Hungarian driver, it certainly is a popular venue for him and his fans as well. But Le Mans, as you can see from the packed grandstands opposite the start-finish straight, is a real gem on the calendar. This is how qualifying looked earlier on. Norbert Kiss taking pole position with Jochen Hahn joining him on the front row once again. Jochen looking to strengthen his 2nd place in the championship as we go into the final meetings. Steffi Halm is going to start on the 2nd row with Antonio Albacete alongside, and then Jamie Anderson and Sasha Lenz are going to make up row 3. Andre Kurzim and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez are next up, with Louis Requenco and then Jose Rodriguez completing the top 10. Then it's John Newell, Stefan Faas, Heinrich Clementecker and Mark Taylor, who will start at the back of the grid for this one. Mark was, unfortunately for him, having an issue with the truck in qualifying. He didn't get out early enough and then had to really work hard to try and get everything working while the session was still live, and I believe there was a diagnosis for it earlier on that was mentioned, but I will have to try and find that out for you all and let you know. It seems like it was an oil line actually on the turbocharger, which split and it covered the truck in oil, so then they had issues getting that fixed and then getting him back out. We look here at Steffi Halm and Jamie Anderson, who are just making their way around to the grid. There's the rest of the field now as well, heading down the hill and then back up again. It's always great when you get the chance to head to the grid and then, of course, see all the trucks themselves lining up on the grid. There is Jochen Hahn making his way forward in the Iveco S-Way. We have our Bio LNG-powered Iveco S-Way on the right there as well. Marshall signalling to Jochen that he is well in place, and Norbert Kiss well in place as well over on the left-hand side of the grid. I mistakenly mentioned earlier on that on the right-hand side of the grid would we be where the odd-numbered positions are, but it's not. Because of the first chicane, the drivers that start on 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th and so on are on the left-hand side, so they've got the inside line for that first left-hand chicane. There may be a sweeping right-hander before that, but it doesn't seem like people get much of an advantage there before the first couple of corners. There you can see the massive grandstand down the start-finish straight above the pit buildings and all of the lounges down there. It's a very, very steep grandstand that. Christina and I were up there last year doing the intros to the broadcasts, and I don't really get scared of heights, but up there it honestly feels like you're just falling off a cliff. Hopefully not falling off a cliff in terms of the points this weekend is Jochen Hahn. He's hoping to take at least the championship fight to Harama in a week's time, but he needs to score more points this weekend than Norby to hold on to that. There's 60 points available over the course of a race weekend, and he is 70 points behind at this moment in time. That's Michael Marek there, the race director, talking to Norbert Kish on the front row of the grid. Just giving him, I think, a quick briefing in terms of when they move off the grid and how they go about starting the race, of course. Here's a look at the track itself, the gorgeous Bugatti circuit, a very interesting shape indeed. As you see, we go up the Dunlop curve into the chicane and then through La Chapelle, Musée and then Garage Vert. These three hairpins that sort of back onto each other, almost like a karting circuit, but there is a long, long distance between them all. So it's certainly not as tight and twisty as that. But Garage Vert, the corner on the left-hand side there, is like a double apex right-hander. It's almost a complete square when you see it in person. It's a remarkable corner that leads us then onto the back straight, the oh-so-important back straight where everybody will be trying to get the best run they can. Then into the left-right chicane and then long sweeping final corners through De Garage Bleu and then Raccormont into the final double right-hander. Not easy to get right in a truck at all. There's a lot of different points of this circuit with long sweeping corners where the drivers have to be so switched on to make sure that they manage the weight transfer, they manage the movement and the inertia of their trucks to perfection. There is Steffi Halm giving us a wave. She'll be very happy starting from third on the grid. Certainly looking good for her today as the day has progressed. The weather not looking so spiffing now, though, is it? It was beautiful earlier on, very, very sunny. But I've been told by a number of friends that I've got in the paddock that it is very cold down there, actually. It's a really chilly weekend. So I know that a lot of people will be really excited about heading to Madrid in a few days' time after the race meeting for the week. We're going to go to the front of the grid because we're going to go to Lena, who's going to have a chat with Jochen Hahn.
Jochen is already like getting boosted up for race number 1 this weekend, and I think you're like developing your points, making sure that second place is yours, right?
Yeah, in the end I have really not really a stress to beat him, but when he gives me a possibility to do, I will do it. So, but anyway, I must look to Sasha and Antonio, and it's a confident position.
Sasha was a little unlucky in qualifying, so he's just starting out from somewhere back there. How much do you like Le Mans? Because I always like to see people's faces. Some really love it a lot, and some don't like it so much. How are you feeling about it?
I'm 6-time European champion, 5 titles I win here in Le Mans, so I have something together with Le Mans, and I will not say I love it, but I feel very confident on the track. Yeah.
How do you feel about the audience? Do you have a look at them? Because there's so many people around the track over here.
It's a special atmosphere. You have any time a race here in Le Mans? You feel the feeling? Yes? You know the 2 tribunes. It's like a sound area, you know, and you can feel it inside of the car or the truck when you drive. And this is special. It's good.
All right, so good luck to you. See you on the podium later on, hopefully. Enjoy the atmosphere. I know you can do it. He's such an experienced driver, and it is a very special atmosphere. So if you ever have a chance to come to Le Mans for whatever races, specifically the truck racing, do so, just so you get a glimpse of what's going on. I will turn around one more time before we will go over and also welcome the TV audience. So we will have a quick break, and then we will be back in the live stream together with our friends from all over the world. Welcome to Le Mans, France, and the 7th race weekend of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. We are ready to get started for race number 1 of this weekend. It's going to be an exciting one because Norbert Kisch is on pole position again, followed by Jochen Hahn, who of course is fighting for second place in the championship. So let's see how this race goes. And there are many more. Talking about Antonio Albacete, who of course also is fighting for second and third place, followed by Sascha Lenz, who was not as fortunate in the qualifying, but I'm pretty sure he will fight through again as well. So welcome to this very astonishing weekend, and of course a big and warm welcome again to Chaz Draycott, our English commentator. But before we head over to him, we have a little presentation, a small video for you prepared, because this really has been a big celebration here in Le Mans just a couple of hours beforehand, so see for yourself.
Thank you very much, Lena. Yes, the day has started off in fantastic fashion here, where they have a big presentation and a wonderful band for the trucks at the front of the grid. They really do put on a show here at Le Mans, and it is always a real spectacle to be a part of this race weekend. There you see all the teams and drivers all lined up from the European Truck Racing Championship and the French Truck Racing Championship as well. And a wonderful, wonderful presentation. Like I say, it's definitely something that adds to how special it is here in Le Mans. Jochen Hahn described it beautifully before about the tribunes over the top and how it's like one massive sound arena. I mean, look at it. The crowds that we get here in Le Mans as well are absolutely massive. It's always a pleasure to come here, and of course it's always at a time where the championship is rounding out its campaign, so it's always at the sharp end of the field, and it means that of course drivers are really eyeing up the points. And Jochen said it himself, he's won 5 titles while racing here, so he knows definitely what it feels like to be on the brink of said championship here. Norbert Kisch is on the brink of his 5th title as well. That man there, he has been in absolutely stunning form yet again throughout this season. He's won championships in 2014 and 15 back to back, then waited 6 years until winning again in 2021 and 2022, and he looks set to do it one more time here at the glorious Le Mans Bugatti circuit. My name is Chaz Draycott. I'm the English commentator for the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, and my wonderful colleagues Joachim Eberts and Fonzie Cebrian provide the German and Spanish commentary as well. If you are watching one of our live streams online, there will be a separate link available to those streams if you wish to see them in other languages. It's only 17 degrees at the moment at Le Mans, so it's not the hottest of days at all. But as you see, this circuit is a very big challenge. The first sector in particular, with the long sweeping Dunlop curve into the chicane, the downhill hairpin at La Chapelle, then the over the crest hairpin at Le Musée, and the double apex hard right at Garage Vert. It is a nightmare for truck drivers to race around this place. Very tricky. Even drivers like Antonio Albacete have said this weekend that they are not confident at this circuit. It's really one that rumbles up the order slightly, and it has a very special atmosphere about it. So we're really looking forward to seeing how the racing gets underway with this first race of the weekend. 4 races coming your way, 2 today, 2 tomorrow, and it's going to be an absolute blast. We're going to head back down to the grid though and speak to Lena, who's got some more words for us.
Yep, Sascha Lenz fighting together with Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete for 2nd, 3rd and 4th place right now. What happened to you in qualifying? Why are you starting so far back?
You know, what a shit super for us, so yeah. But it's life, not every time you have the perfect lap and you set in the first line. So now we are P6, we will see after the race.
But you're doing very well always in fighting through. Do you already have a plan in your head?
For sure not. The first step, it's a good start. So, and then after we will see.
And Antonio had some issues with the fresh tires he put on his truck. Are you doing fine on this track over here?
Yeah, I have in a super pole or in the qualifying, I feel it's not so nice to track with the old tires from Solder. So maybe we have the same problem, you know. So yeah, we will see.
All right, so I hope I get to see you collecting some more points for the championship, because I know he needs them. Chaz, that's that for now. I will find another interview in quite a second, but back to you for now.
Thank you, Lena. Always good to hear from Sasha Lenz. Apologies for the language, but that's something that Sasha has almost become completely endeared for now at this point in time. He's been learning English off the English racing drivers, so no surprise there off the boys. You can see there this gorgeous prepared number 3 machine with the bright green chassis rails and centre line. And then, of course, the 100% HVO diesel branding on the 5th wheel on the back there. Obviously, these trucks all do run on 100% renewable HVO diesel. It is part of the amazing sustainability methods that the championship focuses on to try and be carbon neutral by 2038 at the latest. The championship is committed to that cause, and we really do love the fact that it doesn't just carry motor racing with it, but it also means that it stretches the life of motor racing out further into the future. We now have our Ford F-Max on the grid. We are once again partnered with Ford Trucks for the 2023 season. Ford provide us with these beautiful F-Maxes. There's 2 examples, this blue and white one. We also have a black and orange one in the paddock as well. But this is the inspection lap that takes place. We'll get to show off our beautiful F-Max, of course, but it means that the circuit is checked for any final bits of maybe debris or any spillages or anything that may have happened between sessions that could cause the racing to not go ahead as planned, basically. I've been told for this weekend by many friends of mine in the paddock that we have George III driving this vehicle. It's a joke as a nickname, apparently, for our new Ford truck driver, but I'm yet to meet this George III, so we'll have to see how that goes on for Harama, and we'll get confirmation of that. We're going to go back down to Lena, though, and get another look at things down there on the grid.
Yeah, we have a very lovely hashtag you should follow. It's called One Truck Family. And this truly is One Truck Family because everyone wants everyone to always race. And you might have seen the races going on in Zolder, Belgium 2 weekends ago. And Luis Recuenco, our Spanish driver, he had a big fireball on his truck. And so we were like, will he manage to get his truck fixed? No, he didn't. But he has Julia right here, ready to race. It's the Iveco of Lucas Hahn, and he was able to land it. But see for yourself, you can still see Lucas' truck in the back, and he took all the parts that were still working from his own truck. This is why it still looks like his truck. Totally clean, ready to race, and had a very nice qualifying. So I'm very astonished and quite happy to see that he's doing so well with the One Family superpower truck. Yes, we're getting ready to race.
Absolutely, and yes, if there's anything this weekend that follows the One Truck Family ethos, it is the fact that Lucas Hahn's chassis is being used by Louis Recuenco for the weekend, but still looks very much like Louis' truck from most angles with the green bodywork all over it, that gorgeous dark green shade that he carries as his branding. But again, fantastic to see that he's got that very well-prepared race truck underneath him as well. We all know just how good Jochen and the team are at building trucks. Obviously, some of the finest truck builders in the world. Jochen's team, they completed the fantastic initiative with Iveco recently to build the very first electric-powered race truck, of course. So there's certainly people that know what they're doing. There's Connie Tolkun and Franz Stahlberg from the FIA making their way down the grid on the left-hand side. 2 of my finest friends from in the paddock. Lovely, lovely people that I'm looking forward to seeing yet again at Harama in just about a week's time. They're just some of the final personnel on the grid to make sure everything is all checked over and done. And there is the championship trophy in front of them all on the front row of the grid. Norbert Kish aiming to take that this weekend. I'll keep you up to date with the points situation, but as we stand right now, Norby is 70 points clear in the standings, and there are 120 left on the table. After this race, there will be just 100 left on the table. So Norby will not be able to take the championship in this race, even if he gets a maximum score and Jochen doesn't score any points. Norby will move to 90 points clear in the standings. If he then carried that gap to the end of race 2, then he would be unrivaled and be champion. There's a look at the back of the Iveco S-Way, the bio-LNG powered Iveco S-Way, the official pace truck of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. We're happy to say that we've got all 14 trucks on the grid right now, which is nice to see. We've got Mark Taylor back on the back row of the grid, ready to go after their earlier problems during qualifying and Superpole. But this is the calm before the storm here, everybody, before we get the racing underway. Jochen clearly wanting to get going ASAP, and they start to move away now for the first formation lap of the weekend here in the 7th race meeting of 8 in the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. This is going to be race number 25 of 32 this season. 4 races in a weekend, 2 qualifying and Superpole sessions in each weekend as well. And this is going to be one of the very finest of the season. Le Mans always provides great racing. It looks almost like there's a bit of moisture on the edge of the circuit there off the racing line. It could just be a bit of dust from the gravel traps, to be fair. You do see quite a lot of that offline here at Le Mans because those gravel traps, as you see, are massive down there at that section of the circuit. It's a very wide open area. It's not like the tight confines of Zolder where the barriers are never more than 3 meters away from the vehicles. It is a big old open space, is Le Mans, and it's a fantastic place to go racing. And obviously with the modern technology underneath us, it's a place that will hopefully be going racing for a lot longer as well. The bio-LNG power behind the Iveco S-Way at the front of the field is one of the many methods that hopes to strive for a long life for truck racing and, of course, helping the industry as well. Here's your grid then, everybody. Jochen Hahn is going to be starting second behind Norbert Kish on the front row for, I believe, the 6th time this season the pair of them have shared the front row. Steffi Halm next up with Antonio Albacete on row 2. Great qualifying from Steffi. She's had a really good qualifying pace in the second half of the season. Jamie Anderson is next up in 5th position with Sasha Lenz in 6th place alongside him. He'll be hoping to gain some early places from there for sure. Andre Kurzin will start in 7th position with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez alongside him on that 4th row. Jose shares the circuit with his father this weekend, which is lovely to see. Louis Requenco starts 9th in the Lucas Hahn machine, with Jose Rodriguez making his return to the championship by getting straight into Superpole. John Newell is next up with Stefan Faas. That's the 3rd and 4th place drivers in the Promoters' Cup for this grid. And then Heinrich Clemens Hecker and Mark Taylor complete the grid in 13th and 14th. It's a very tightly contested field yet again in this championship. And there is no knowing where anybody is really going to end up in this race. A lot of people would argue that, of course, Norbert Kish is going to win, but there's been a certain amount of doubt sometimes with the truck itself, actually. It's let him down twice so far this season. Obviously, we never hope for that to happen. But you never know in truck racing, anything can happen. It's certainly a very niche corner of the world of motorsport, but we all absolutely love it. It is massively appreciated the entire world over. I've heard there's a very big scene for it in New Zealand as well, actually. A lot of fantastic drivers racing in that part of the world in trucks like these. So, hold on to your hats, everybody, because we're about to get underway for the first race of the weekend here at Le Mans for the 7th round in 2023. The bio-LNG powered Iveco S-Way makes its way into the pit lane. Norbert Kish leads us from the front row of the grid with Jochen Hahn alongside him. Steffi Halm and Antonio Albacete next up. They head down the start-finish straight, the lights come on, they all hold the brakes, and round 25 of the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship is go now. And there's a big jump to the left-hand side by Louis Requenco. He gets a great initial launch. Oh, a bit of movement in the middle there. Jamie Anderson moves to the right-hand side and just clips the front of Sasha Lenz, I think. It looks like Andre Kurzin was the one that didn't get a good start from that left-hand side of the grid. Seems a little bit of argy-bargy in the middle there as well. I think Norbert Kish was just leaning on Jochen Hahn slightly as if to say, nope, you make sure you stay over there, sunshine. You are not coming through on this right-hand side. Norbert Kish leads them down the hill. I think Steffi Halm has grabbed 2nd position in the Iveco. It looks like she has. Great start by Steffi Halm, but Jochen Hahn's going to come back down the inside as they go down to the bottom of the hill. Antonio Albacete still in there as well. Jamie Anderson trying to look for a gap down the inside of Sasha Lenz. Those two teammates, let's not forget. A little bit of contact in the middle of the field there. Louis Requenco pushed out wide by Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Number 38 machine not letting him have an inch there. Jamie and Sasha are leaning on each other as well through this long left-hander at Virage de Musée. Looks like Jose Rodriguez has had a bit of a scruffy start as well. I think he's just had contact with Stefan Faas. That's not what Stefan needs. Maybe a bit of fatherly assistance there. Jose Rodriguez protecting the positions of his son a bit further up the order, because Stefan is his main rival in the Promoters' Cup, let's not forget. Oh, running very wide there. Louis Requenco, John Newell and Mark Taylor resuming their battle. They're very close in the Promoters' Cup, actually. There's only 4 points between the two of them. John Newell chasing third in that championship. Mark Taylor trying to beat him to that as well. Those two are best of the rest of the Promoters' Cup after Stefan Faas and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Jose Eduardo looking a lot more comfortable as well, actually, at this point of the season. Lots of darting around there from Sasha Lenz. He's making it very clear that he wants to get past Antonio Albacete. It doesn't look possible for Jose Eduardo Rodriguez to take the title this weekend unless he scores 20 more points than Stefan Faas. But we'll keep an eye on that and see whether he can wrap up that title here this weekend. But after lap 1, it's Norbert Kish taking the first spot. Jochen Hahn second, Steffi Halm in third, Albacete in fourth, then Sasha Lenz in fifth. You can see them all fanning out now down the straight. There's no point sitting in the hot air in the truck from in front of you, because at the end of the day you don't need slipstream here to go over 100 miles an hour. These trucks will hit that very easily, and then they have to limit what speed they're doing down the start-finish straight. They're not allowed to overspeed at all. So all you're doing if you're sitting behind the truck in front of you is just putting hot air into your engine for no reason. You may as well get out in the cool air and do the same speed as everybody else. It's a real art form to truck racing. Andre Kurzim is going well. He's all over the back of Jamie Anderson now, actually hoping to take 6th place away from him. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is in there as well. A little bit of bodywork, or just even vinyl. No, it's a bit of fiberglass actually flapping away there on the front right of Antonio Albacete's MAN. Clearly getting very close to other trucks in the opening laps, or even just hitting a penalty marker or a curb or something can do that to them. Because look, watch the front end now as it dives down on the brakes. The front ends of these trucks get very low to the ground when they make their way through these corners. There's a lot of weight to lean on them. 5.5 tons in most cases, these trucks. The minimum weight is 5.3 tons. And over 3 of those tons have to be weighed over the front axle. I believe the exact number is 3,150 kilos. There is Steffi Halm holding on for 3rd place at this moment. Steffi has so far scored 4 podium finishes overall this season. She's having a really good run in the championship, in 6th position behind Andre Kurzim by only 8 points as well. So she's got the chance to overtake him this weekend. Looks like Jose Eduardo Rodriguez has got a bit of bodywork damage there, and Andre Kurzim has actually got a bit of damage on the left rear of his truck as well. So I think the two of them have both come together somewhere. Look at the way they move around into these final couple of corners. It looks fantastic, doesn't it? The way that the truck just dives down on the brakes and then really leans on that front corner. Then they get back on the power and they almost lean back as they head down the start-finish straight. That piece of bodywork has come off Antonio Albacete's truck now. Sasha Lenz just moving over all the way to the right-hand side to try and get what clear air that he can. Trying to follow really tidy and really closely through the chicane, but everybody's still running by the look of it. Mark Taylor has moved up into 13th place ahead of Heinrich Clemens Hecker. Louis Requenco has moved up into 10th place after starting 11th. And other than that, I don't think there's been much more movement. I'm just going to check where Andre Kurzim started, because I'm pretty sure... No, he did start in 7th place, actually, ahead of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Thought the two of them might have swapped around, but no. So now it looks like Antonio Albacete, rather than being the one under pressure from Sasha Lenz, is all of a sudden the one putting the pressure on Steffi Halm. Sasha waiting in there as well to try and pick up any pieces that come from this battle here. We're only on lap 3 out of 11. I'll remind you that that ticker in the top left that shows what lap we're on actually shows how many laps we've completed. So we're on lap 3 out of 11 here. Sasha nearly driving off the road, trying to find any way around Antonio Albacete that he can. And there is Andre Curzim defending from what's left of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez's truck. It looks like a very dramatic hole in the front right of the truck, but it's not that bad. It's only a bit of fiberglass and a bit of bodywork. It's not going to completely ruin the performance. As you'd imagine, they're not the most aerodynamic things. It runs in the family. Look, Jose Rodriguez has got no bodywork on the front right of his truck either. Clearly the two of them working hard to gain whatever places they can. But Jose Eduardo Rodriguez needn't sort of risk anything with this battle at the moment because he's leading the Promoters' Cup. You can see that by the little P next to their name on the timing tower on the left. Stefan Fass is right behind him though in 9th place. Now he will take away Promoters' Cup points if he plays his cards right. The weather looks like it could make an interesting impact here at Le Mans this weekend because it's rained here in the past while races have been halfway through, and then I don't think we've had races red flagged, not like we did at Most just a month or so ago, because that really was wet. Like, wet is not the word to describe it. It was like a monsoon. It was unbelievable. But look at Jose Eduardo Rodriguez here, really pushing on to try and get past Andre Curzim. He's working so hard to get by the MAN, chasing down the Iveco, and yet again Andre finds himself defending. He doesn't ever seem to be the driver that's attacking the person in front. He always seems to be trying to hold on to a position. He does really well in qualifying and then just has to block for the whole race. Into the double right-hander again they go. You can see just how it dips down there at the apex. The drivers lose a sudden amount of grip. And speaking of losing grip, Louis Requenco goes in a little bit hot there. Mark Taylor right behind him, then Heinrich Clemens-Hecker. Those 4 trucks at the back there are fighting for 3rd place and a podium position in the Promoters' Cup here. And at this present moment, John Newell is extending his gap in the championship slightly over Mark Taylor. That'll secure his 3rd place a little bit more. Louis Requenco is 6th in the championship at the moment, some 40 points off those guys, so he's not a real threat to them at the moment unless he has a really solid weekend and the other guys have a very poor one. Race lead at the moment for Norbert Kish is 3.5 seconds, but this is definitely not 3.5 seconds between these lot. Steffi Halm just about holding on ahead of Antonio Albacete, then Sasha Lenz. Looks like John Newell has opened up a bit of a gap actually there over Requenco now that he's got through. There's Jose Rodriguez just in front of them. Out of the final corner they all go. A constant stream of trucks through there. Whole field separated by 23 seconds at the moment, which is not bad at all. As I didn't hit that penalty marker, Your Honour, says Jose Rodriguez, as it latches itself to the front of the truck. Despite the abuse of track limits there, the trucks all do run on very clean, green, 100% renewable HVO diesel, so the racing is as clean as it can be, regardless of how many penalty markers get taken out. This is the battle for 3rd position, though, still going on. Steffi Halm trying to defend from Antonio Albacete. Sasha Lenz, look, taking a wide line to take a later apex, try and get a run on the exit. Doesn't quite work for him though, because the thing is with these trucks, you can't just dive up the inside like a motorbike or anything. It's not like there's a tiny slither of a gap. It has to be one almighty gap for you to try and shove one of these things down the inside. Steffi Halm is just holding on at this moment in time. It looks like Antonio can't quite find a place to overtake just yet. He's certainly going to be trying though. 3-time European champion is Antonio. He's the man with the most podium positions, or podium finishes I should say, in the championship's history. I believe he's got nearly 290 now. I think he is on 290 coming into this weekend. Remarkable career for Antonio Albacete. But he's now got Sasha Lenz all over the back of him. Jamie Anderson isn't making many inroads to the progress of those guys at the moment, but we know that he's going to be wanting to catch up and pick off some positions and points. Sasha Lenz is starting to look, I wouldn't say impatient behind Antonio, but he's looking like he's definitely giving him a bit of a hurry up from where he is right now. There's been a couple of warnings go out for penalty markers. Thank you again to Alice, who's in race control, watching all of this. A couple of drivers on their second warnings actually. Jose Rodriguez, Stefan Fass and John Newell. They get time penalties applied if they hit them a third time. That again is Louis Requenco, Stefan Faas and John Newell actually. They're on final warnings now. Sasha Lenz has also had his first warning for penalty markers on that previous lap, so they're not easily avoidable here at Le Mans. You have to push so hard at this circuit. But Norbert Kish opening up that advantage even further now. He's 4.3 seconds ahead of Jochen Hahn, who has then got another 4.5 seconds over this trio that we look at here. You can see just how early they try and get on the power and run wide on the exit. Doesn't look like they're completely overdoing it there though, but they do get really close to the track limits. But Steffi Halm is doing everything right at this moment to hold on to that position. You can hear tyres and all sorts squealing away and scrubbing against the surface. These trucks don't have a dry set of tyres and a wet set of tyres. They use the same tyres regardless of the conditions. It's a remarkably versatile form of racing. Going one way then the other through the chicane. Steffi Halm looks really confident through that part of the circuit, to be honest. She looks very, very confident indeed. And she's going to be hoping to maintain that confidence in the later stages to hold off Antonio Albacete. Andre Curzon will be hoping to channel some of that confidence as well to keep Jose Eduardo Rodriguez behind. Jose Eduardo sideways through the long sweeping left-hander into the final couple of corners now. Recordmont. Look at the way they bounce over one curve, then the other, then get on the power, kick the back end out, long slide by Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Curzon feels the need to defend the inside line. Jose Eduardo wants to fill that gap, and he is there, very close to the pit wall. You can see pit boards and all sorts flailing around in the massive blast of air that these trucks cause down the start-finish line. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez looking racy here, sends it down the inside, nothing doing this time round. Just sends a message to Andre Curzon, I think. I think Andre actually did go a little bit late on the brakes there. I think Jose Eduardo's pushing him on the exit, giving him a real hurry up now. He's properly going for it. Love that shot of them just emerging over the hill. Jose Eduardo's going to try and tuck it into the apex. Andre Curzon gets it stopped. This is helping Stefan Faas as well, because Stefan is behind this pair. And he is trying to take points away from Jose Eduardo Rodriguez in the Promoters' Cup, who now sends it down the inside of Andre Curzon. He's got his nose alongside. Through the left-hander he goes. Is he going to make it work? He needs to leave him the room. He's sideways, sideways, sideways on the exit. Doesn't work for him, though. Loses momentum because of the slide. Stefan Faas will now close in. It was tough stuff, though, from both of them, but they did really well with it. Andre Curzon goes deep, though, into Garage Vert. He's now kicked the back end out. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez has got his nose down the inside. I don't even think there was contact there. They both did so well to keep it tidy. But this is just slowing the pair of them down. This is not really the best for Jose Eduardo Rodriguez's case here. He will want to go and just sit behind Andre Curzon, or it'd be in his best interest to sit behind him, because if he's not having a go, he's not causing a battle, and he's not allowing Stefan Faas to catch up. Maybe a little bit of an experience showing here from Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Here's another look at the move. Nice and deep on the brakes. Down the inside, and then just watch the back end of that blue and white and red machine. Look, completely sideways, 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 leaning on that rear corner. Great, great car control, as they say. Or truck control in this case. And as you've seen, that bodywork damage on the front is of no concern to him, especially not to his father either, who's got the same damage. I hope they've got a lot of front right wings. He goes to the right, then goes to the left, actually, now down the start-finish straight. Must have got a really good run. Looks like he is just about alongside. If he can hold it round the outside here, he'll be able to have the inside line for the chicane. And there's just no overlap. Oh, it's the tiniest of overlaps, actually. Keeps it to the inside. Andre Curzon has to just go to the outside line. Is Jose Eduardo going in a bit deep? Oh, I'm not sure he was. Stefan Fast wants a piece of that as well. What a great move, though, by Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Andrei Kurzim has been caught napping there, and I think Stefan Fast is going to try and come through as well. He's looking down the inside. No, nothing doing this time round. Is Andrei going to go deep, though? He might have overdone the tyres in the opening laps. Now this is the perfect scenario for Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, because he can just disappear off in front of these guys while they're the ones that are battling. The worst thing would have been for him to get past Kurzim and then Stefan Fast to go with him as well. Great racing, though, in the mid-pack here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Here's the move. Now, I was very concerned because as he turns in there, it looks like he's gone way too deep in. Andrei Kurzim has to get on the brakes, just give it a tap. Great avoidance. Could have been a big incident if it would have gone wrong, but Jose Eduardo Rodriguez does the job. His father has now joined this quartet behind Stefan Fast, so he's certainly going to fill Stefan's mirrors to distract him and hold him back somewhat. John Newell is still third in the Promoters' Cup. He's just in the background there with Heinrich Clemens Hecker for company. Clemens trying to get that podium spot away from him. I think Heinrich Clemens Hecker's only been on the podium 2 or 3 times this season in the Promoters' Cup. No, ignore me, 5 times on the podium this season, Heinrich Clemens Hecker in the Scania. He also is missing front right bodywork. Now here is an inter-team battle here. Steffi Halm and Antonio Albacete have disappeared off up the road away from Sascha Lenz, who is now under pressure from Jamie Anderson, his teammate, Team Lowenpower. These two work together. There was rather controversial contact between the two of them at the Nürburgring, where Jamie looked down the inside of Sascha, got it all wrong and took the two of them off the road. I wondered whether Sascha had a right rear puncture for a moment there. The right rear tyre, when he came out of that final corner, did not quite look right. It looked like it's gone down slightly. He's very wide of the apex into turn 1. Keep an eye on that right rear. Is there something wrong with the truck? Because it just doesn't seem to be behaving itself. It really doesn't have the usual turn-in that we've seen from him. I mean, his previous lap was some 4 seconds slower than those around him. Jamie Anderson goes through as if he's not even there. And I think, yeah, Sascha has got an issue. He's slowing even more now. Have to see when he comes towards us. I was sure that the right rear looked like it had gone down, but Jamie Anderson goes through. He moves up into a top 5 spot. This is going to help Antonio Albacete in the championship if Sascha has an issue here. Antonio is currently on for 10 championship points, while Sascha is, if he retires, obviously on for none. Holding on to 6th place at the moment, that would be 6 points for him, so he'd still be a good 8 points ahead of Antonio, but this is the highest scoring race of the two. There's quite a lot of smoke coming out of that thing now as well, so I wonder whether it's an engine issue. Now, I'm sorry if you lot can all see what's wrong, but I get a slightly lower quality stream sent to me as a production feed, so I'm not sure if... No, that tyre's definitely not down, is it, on that right rear? It looks a lot softer than the rest of them, but I'm not sure it's completely gone down. Be interesting to hear what the problem is from Sascha and the team afterwards. But there is Steffi Halm still holding on ahead of Antonio Albacete. We've completed 10 laps now. Sorry, we've completed 9 laps now, so we're on to lap 10 of the race. One more lap to go after this one. And in terms of the Promoters' Cup, it's currently Jose Eduardo Rodriguez gaining 5 points over Stefan Fast, and Heinrich Clemens Hecker has gone past John Newell, who has dropped to the back as well. John Newell has dropped right down in the pack for some reason. Requenco up there as well. So really not sure what's happened to John Newell there, unfortunately. He's just crossed the line now, actually, but his last lap time was a 2 minutes 20.4, and he was 6 seconds slower in the first sector. So something has happened at the start of the lap to John Newell. That is devastating, because he was on the way to a podium in the Promoters' Cup as well. Steffi Halm has driven a great race here, holding off Antonio Albacete's advances all the way through. She's only got one more lap to do as well, while she has to hold this position. Sascha Lenz still circulating in 6th position, so he's on for 6 championship points, from what I know. So he would only lose 4 points to Antonio Albacete if it finished as is. He's now actually dropped down to 10th place on our timing tower as I say that. He's continuing to drop down as well. That is devastating stuff for Sascha Lenz. Let's have a look. His first sector time was 1 minute 5 seconds. Yeah, it's 6 seconds slower than anybody else in just the first sector. So maybe some sort of engine issue for Sascha. A lot of trucks going past him. That would mean that the gap between himself and Albacete in the championship would only be 3 points now. Albacete thrown a lifeline here, but it was very strange that he disappeared backwards so quickly. And we're on the final lap now. Norbert Kish leading by over 7 seconds to Jochen Hahn. But Jochen is going to open up a bigger gap over Lenz and Albacete in the championship as well. He's going to be 41 points clear if it finishes like this. Lenz is now out of the points, so no points for him at this point. Pardon the pun. But that means that Antonio Albacete's got a little bit less to lose in terms of attacking Steffi Halm for that final podium spot here. It's 2 points more in the championship. But I'm not sure that he would risk it all for that. I think right now they'd be happy that they'll be scoring enough points to close right up on Sascha and leave things almost level again before the next race of the day. There's a lot of smoke up there actually at the following corner. I'm not quite sure if that was from Jochen Hahn having a lock-up or something, or whether Norby did as well just in front of him. The two of them seem to still be circulating just fine. But there is the lead gap. Look, Norbert Kish has just driven a very tidy race at the front of the field, and here he is. Sometimes no news is good news, and we've not seen too much of him this race because he's just been gradually moving away over the horizon. I believe it was a record in 2015 that Norbert Kish set with 19 race wins. And this win is going to be his 18th of the season with 7 races remaining. And I think you'd be slightly foolish to bet against him beating that record this season. This man is in fine form and is going to once again move even closer to the championship. He's going to have 75 points in his favour, and Norbert Kish wins round 25 of the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Amazing, amazing drive indeed. Jochen Hahn secures more brilliant points in second place. He now moves up to 251 points in the standings. And hands together for Steffi Halm, who scores another podium in the championship. That is Steffi's 5th appearance on the overall podium this season, ahead of Antonio Albacete, who banks some important points for him and the team. Lenz has made his way into the pit lane, and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is going to cross the line now to take the race victory in the Promoters' Cup. He does it again, that now becoming Jose Eduardo's 12th win in the category this season. Stefan Faas finishing on the podium, gaining more points for his campaign, and Heinrich Clemens Hecker completes the podium in the Promoters' Cup. John Newell there crossing the line at the end. He's got a penalty marker wedged in the truck as well. I'm pretty sure that it was Sascha Lenz that had that happen at Misano earlier in the season. But a great opening race of the day here at Le Mans. But it's looking yet again like nobody can stop Norbert Kish. 18 wins and more drifting. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Big Red Baloo, the MAN, is certainly on form, and so is her pilot. Like I've said, Norby could wrap up the championship this weekend. There's now 100 points left in the entire season. And he, at this point now, is 75 points clear of Jochen Hahn. Jochen is going to be definitely a lot more confident about being in second place though now, because he's going to be some 42 points ahead of Sascha Lenz and 44 points ahead of Antonio Albacete. Only 2 points between Lenz and Albacete now because of that lifeline of reliability that was thrown in the direction of T-Sport Bernau. Apparently numbers 25 and 18, Heinrich Clemens Hecker and John Newell, are both under investigation, so I imagine there was some sort of incident between the two of them as Hecker got through, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. We'll wait on final results and all sorts to be brought out a little bit later after the race. And hopefully we can find out for you what the issue was with Sascha Lenz. Because that was a massive, massive shame. The marshal's out in force to congratulate Norby on his way back in. And he will now head into the iconic pit lane here at Le Mans. Such a special place to be. I was lucky enough to take a walk down that pit lane last year while this race meeting was here. And it is a magical place to be, it really is. Norby pulls into the paddock. The eagle-eyed of you would have seen the horns on Norby's truck when he was sat on the grid. We may hear them roar up now. I suppose not. Seems like there's some sort of smoke or something coming from the front of the truck. Maybe just steam from the brakes, but usually it's all dissipated by now. The trucks do have actively water-cooled brakes. I suppose it's a lot cooler there at Le Mans than it usually is at some of our race meetings. But there is your podium. Norbert Kish, Jochen Hahn and Steffi Halm, first, second and third. And the Promoters' Cup podium, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Stefan Faas, and then Heinrich Clemens Hecker. But we have to wait and see what happens with the investigation there, whether Hecker holds that podium or whether it will go to, next up, Louis Rikwenko. Norby out of the truck and the team very happy. That's win number 18 this season for Norbert Kish. Amazing performance. Almost looking completely unstoppable at this moment. You can see Jochen just making his way out of his truck on the left-hand side. And thanks again to Steve Miller from Sascha Lenz's team. He's told me that the steering is broken on the truck. Oh, dearie me, he's just sent me a picture through of it as well. And yeah, the front right, very, very broken indeed. I was talking about high caster angles before and the angle at which the wheel sits when they're turning. But yeah, Sascha's truck, very much broken, unfortunately. We're going to go down to Lena in just a second. She's going to have a word with Norbert Kish when he's done chatting away with the team, speaking to Schaber in a lot of detail there by the look of it. Lena, what do you reckon?
Yeah, Norbert, he's still with his team discussing stuff, so I will jump right in over here. The French guys are, of course, also an interview. And Steffi, I'm super proud of you. This was quite a race, and I love how fightful you are at this weekend.
Yeah, it was perfect. You know, the start was good, and then after the second corner, everything was clear. Jochen was in front of me. I tried to stay behind him and didn't give too much gap, but yeah, I also had to fight and then look in the mirror, and then you make some little mistakes. So gap is getting bigger in front, but in the rear, everything was more or less safe. So I'm really happy to finish third.
This was your 6th podium, I just heard, so I hope there will be more trophies to come this weekend. It looks really good.
Yeah, I hope so, but for the moment it's a perfect start.
All right, so I see you up there, and let's quickly jump over to Mr. Hahn, who of course again has shown that he's such an experienced driver. Second place for him again. Congratulations, what else shall I say?
Again, for the second, yeah, it's not so easy to follow him today, so for my feeling, we are good prepared to overtake him, you know. So now we must understand, and okay, second place, not so bad. First loser, that's it.
Well, you also are still collecting points to make sure you become second in the championship. So this has been really a nice and safe race for you also when it comes to that issue.
Yeah, that's true, but you know, never wish anybody what you can have self, you know. You have something broken on the steering, it's a shame, you know. And from this side, yeah, I enjoy the second place. I have a benefit now for the points, but okay, we will see. In the last race, when it's mathematic, not possible to lose the second place, then you can wish me or congratulate the second place.
All right, you see, this is still a very, very exciting race weekend. The points are not yet given away, so a lot can still change. As we just heard, a little mistake, something breaking on the track, and boom, there you're gone, points lost, and someone else is like gaining the points. Let's quickly run over to Norbert. Come with me before he will go get his trophy. He's quickly sorry. He's getting the happy, it's not the happy birthday kiss, but the congratulation kiss. Yeah, this is your fightful machine. I think he's in love with both of them, no? With your truck and your girlfriend.
She will be coming to pick up the team trophy.
All right, so this was your 20th pole position we just measured, and you again turned it into a magic trophy. So, I mean, it's running very well for you this weekend.
Yeah, you know, again, very good job to the team for Avis Racing, you know, because, you know, we again, I think did a good job with the setup and nailed the setup for Le Mans. The free practices was very good. Qualifying also was good, you know, I made a bit of a mistake in the lap, but still was good enough for pole position. But I knew in the race we have a little bit more. So yeah, I almost made a big mistake at the start. Or I did make a big mistake at the start, but I think I was still in the allowed speed because I locked up the brakes while, you know, because at the start we are on full throttle and almost full brake to build up the boost to have a good start. And, you know, I locked the brakes during the building of the boost. And, you know, I was really confused.
Okay, but you did so well, and I have to send you to the ceremony because there's another trophy waiting for you. You have to go up there. This is where the Le Mans guys normally stand, so you go enjoy. And Chas, back to you, because we will have some very lovely pictures for everyone out there to follow.
Thank you, Lena. Yes, absolutely. Norby there rushed off to the podium to go and pick up yet another trophy, but he takes his 18th race victory this season, and that's the 20th time he's appeared on the podium this season as well. 20 race wins in a row, 20 pole positions in a row now since Most last year. That is how impressive Norby has been. Jochen Hahn, yet again second place, more big championship points for him, and in a race where Sasha Lenz doesn't score any points at all, that is very vital. Stephanie Halm finishes in third place, a great podium for Steffi, and then Antonio Albacetti hot on her heels right behind though in fourth place. Jamie Anderson with a solid fifth place ahead of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, another win in the Promoters Cup for him. Andre Kurzin finishes seventh ahead of Stefan Faas, then Heinrich Clemens Hecker, who is still under investigation, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there, but Jose Rodriguez completes the top 10 on his return to the championship. Louis Requenco finishes 11th ahead of Mark Taylor and John Newell, who dropped down after that battle with Heinrich Clemens Hecker, and Sasha Lenz completes the field in 14th place, but one lap down. So, it's a busy time for the drivers and teams now as they prepare between races. You can see the legendary Mike Fow on the left-hand side of your shot there with the pink media vest on. And there is Steffi Halm making her way up to the podium. You can see just how much it rained earlier on because the podium steps themselves are still drenched. But this is a real iconic podium to stand on, a very important one for the drivers and teams. Jochen Hahn up there in second place congratulates Steffi and gives everybody a big wave. And your race winner for the next round of the championship, Norbert Kish. Like I say, win number 18 up on the very large podium up there on top of the start-finish straight here at Le Mans. You can also see our photographers on the left-hand side. We have the wonderful Richard Keinberger and Andre Boettcher there as well. Two fantastic human beings with great senses of humour. Always a good pleasure to be around them. And Jochen raises the trophy high to all the fans that are up on the roof as well. And Norbert Kish raises the trophy high for the win and, of course, gives his team a point as well. And I believe we will now get the national anthem of Hungary for our winning driver. And there you go, the Hungarian national anthem for Norbert Kiss. Jochen Hahn and Steffi Halm will now join him on the top step of the podium for some pictures to be taken of our podium finishers. They'll then go through the traditional changing of the caps that they often do. They have to take pictures to that side as well on this weekend because it's such a long, narrow podium. They change the caps, hang them up on the trophies. And then another round of pictures for them. And now it's time for the good old champagne. Everybody below will get drenched. I don't think they'll soak each other at this point because they know that the race suits need to do another bout later on. Jochen very eager for some cheers. And then they all chink bottles together. A quick sip and off we go. That is our overall podium complete for round 25 of the 2023 season. Norbert Kiss, like I say, up there for the 20th time. That's Jochen's 14th podium of the season and Steffi Halm's 5th podium of the season. I think I incorrectly said it was the 6th earlier on, so it's her 5th podium finish this season. We're about to welcome up Jose Eduardo Rodriguez onto the podium for the 20th time as well in the Promoters' Cup. He'll be up there in just a moment. But this is how the championship looks right now. 326 points to Norbert Kiss. He is now 75 clear of Jochen Hahn. And Sasha Lenz and Antonio Albacetti fighting over that third place in the championship, now only 2 points apart. It is getting closer and closer all the time. Steffi Halm moves up into 5th place and places herself in front of Andre Kurzim. Very well done to Steffi with that one. She'll be over the moon after that. Certainly a good day at the office so far for Steffi. Jamie Anderson, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Lucas Hahn and Stefan Fass complete the drivers that are up there at this moment in time. Mark Taylor is 11th, ahead of Adam Lachko, John Newell, and then Heinrich Clemens-Hecker, with Louis Requenco, Jonathan Andre, Erwin Klein-Nagelvor, and Jose Rodriguez. Heinrich Clemens-Hecker and Stefan Fass already up on the podium. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez makes his way up there as well to go and welcome them. And that is going to be yet another race victory for the very popular Portuguese driver. And they will receive their trophies one at a time. And Stefan Fass appearing up there on the podium yet again. That's his 17th time up there this time round. And we will now get the Portuguese national anthem. And as you'd imagine, here at a circuit like Le Mans, the circuit has a very well-equipped sound system for such national anthems. It's wonderful, isn't it, to be a part of such a great circuit like this. But Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Stefan Fass and Heinrich Clemens-Hecker share the podium. And they now need to do the pictures over to the right-hand side. And then I believe it will be time for champagne for our 3 Promoters' Cup podium finishers. Seems like they don't want to bother spraying each other at this moment in time or anybody else. They will save it for later. And hopefully another podium for them later on. They make their way now back through the media and press office, and then they will go towards the back end of the paddock and go and see the teams and get prepared for the second race of the day and the second race of the weekend. Looking at the results as well, we're going to have Stefan Faas on pole position, actually. Well, here's a quick look back at how it all unfolded for the first race of the weekend, round 25 here at Le Mans. It was a very tidy start by Norbert Kisch and Jochen Hahn, who kept things close together through the opening corners. Steffi Halm almost gaining second place from them as well. But in the end, Norby and Jochen would move ahead at the front of the pack. A great battle between Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Andre Kurzim, and more fantastic fights a bit further down in the Promoters' Cup as well. Penalty markers were sent flying and latching themselves to the front of trucks, and Sasha Lenz got in the fight with Antonio Albacete and Steffi Halm before a steering failure would drop him away in the later stages of the race. Norbert Kisch was flying at the front of the pack though, and took another very well-deserved win on his way to break the record for the most amount of race wins in a season. Certainly a man in form at the moment. We're all excited to see how he does a little bit later on in the second race of the day. The second show of the day should be coming up for you at 5 to 6 in the evening, local time to Le Mans. It's a bit of a later race in this part of the season. And we're going to go back down to Lena, who I believe might have another interview for us.
Yes, and a guy who has been fighting so much. I have been jumping in front of the television watching your race today. You're really under fire since Belgium. Did something switch in your head because you're about to win the Promoters' Cup, or what's going on with you? I really like it.
Yeah, I'm very comfortable in the truck and in the circuits. I'm very focused in the championship. It's the most important for me, and the first race is very good. And we'll see the next race.
Your dad is also here racing. Did you see him in the rear mirror?
Yeah. My dad is in my back, and I'm very happy with the result for me, for my dad, and we'll see.
Cool. So I see you again because you're still fighting and collecting numbers for the winner of the Promoters' Cup. So let's take Stefan Faas over here again one more time, because you had the fight going on and right in front of you. What were you thinking when you were watching them, like battling, maybe getting connected, maybe like getting pushed out or whatever?
Ja, ich habe eigentlich immer nur gewartet, was passiert, und streiten sich zwei, freut sich meistens der Dritte. Ne? Hab dann gesehen, ich kann immer mehr aufschließen auf die ganze Sache, und habe einfach gewartet, was passiert.
So he was just watching them. Like, if two guys are having a fight, the third one always is the lucky one. So luckily not too much damage happened, but you still were able to collect some points for the Promoters' Cup. So do you know where you are standing right now?
Keine Ahnung, ich weiß es wirklich nicht.
I always ask him the same question, he never has a clue. But there are more races to come, so you're getting ready for race number 2 of the day today.
Ja, ich freue mich aufs zweite Rennen, starten wir von Pole. Natürlich mega. Und deshalb weiß ich auch die Punkte nicht. Ich richte mich immer nach dem nächsten Rennen.
All right, so he will be standing out from pole in like 1 hour, whenever. It's pretty soon. So Chas, back to you, and thank you. See you later on with your helmet on.
Lovely stuff. Always good to hear from Stefan Faas, and thank you again, Lena, for translating. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez now moves just within the reach of 300 points in his championship campaign, 44 ahead of Stefan Faas in second place. John Newell is now 2 points ahead of Mark Taylor, with Lucas Hahn in 5th position still. Louis Requenco, now on 144 points, is 3 clear of Heinrich Clemens Hecker, and then Jonathan Andre and Erwin Klein-Nagelvoort complete our run through, let's say, of the Promoters' Cup at the moment. You can see everybody out on the banks all ready to watch the later races. There's a lot more going on this weekend here at Le Mans. But for now, I'm going to sign off, everybody. Thank you very much for watching, and I will hand back down to Lena for some final words. I'll see you later on.
We're just right in the middle of a French photo shoot, so merci beaucoup. Et à plus tard. The French race is about to get started. Hang on with us. This has been this broadcast for now, but we will be back for race number 2 of this weekend. Au revoir et à plus tard. Merci.